Alright, hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Slikk, and I'm back again with another video. And in this one, I want to talk a little bit about Injustice 2, because Ed Boon has been teasing about Red Hood being in the game. And by teasing, I mean he's basically confirmed it at this point. I mean, I know I've probably said that a lot. It's basically confirmed when it hasn't been, especially for Batman v Superman and some of my predictions for that film. But anyhow, yeah, it is pretty much confirmed. So Ed Boon, important guy at NetherRealm. I don't know his exact title. He probably owns the damn thing, to be honest with you. I don't know. Anyway, so he was teasing a little bit about Red Hood being in the game, and in a very trolly way, as he often does. He is like, okay, so we're considering bringing Red Hood in the game. Should it be the Joker as Red Hood, you know, from The Killing Joke when he falls into the vat of acid? Or should it be Jason Todd, the second Robin? And, you know, I voted for the Joker because I was just being a troll, you know, and at this point, again, I'm pretty confident that, you know, the character's already made in the game and ready to go. At this point, he's just sort of teasing it, and I think that the character will probably be on display maybe in the next month or two at some sort of con or event, and that seems to be the way that they're doing it in terms of revealing the characters. At each event, they're revealing one or two characters, and that seems to be like a pretty powerful way to reveal the character roster. We've also learned recently that some characters are going to be able to be brought into the mix with certain combinations of gear, combinations of loot, such that if you were to have a certain combination of gear or loot on Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman will turn into Power Girl. So, you know, that's a really interesting idea as well, and kind of an Easter egg thing all the while. So I gotta say, this is something that really excites me, and Jason Todd is just an interesting Bat Family character. He's so much different than Dick Grayson or Tim Drake or even Barbara Gordon to a degree as well. And one beat that I picked up from the Wonder Woman and Blue Beetle reveal trailer, if you remember that I feel as though may be integral to how Jason Todd plays into the story of Injustice 2, is when Blue Beetle shows up to fight Wonder Woman in the teaser, and she says this:
"Batman sends a child against me?"
So, of course, this line is insinuating that Blue Beetle is working for Batman, and that maybe that there is a Wonder Woman versus Batman, Team Wonder Woman versus Team Batman sort of battle going on here. Now, this is very different than the teaser trailer, if you remember, which insinuated a free-for-all in the game. The Flash was fighting Batman, Batman was fighting Aquaman, Superman was fighting Aquaman, Kara Zor-El was fighting Kal-El, so, I mean, all craziness was going on in that trailer. And in every way, I definitely think that teaser may have just been a teaser, and doesn't necessarily mean that that's how the plot is going to formulate out. But one thing that I will say is that it definitely seems plausible that the plot could be what was depicted in the teaser trailer, and that is basically a free-for-all amidst the top Justice League members, plus Supergirl, Kara Zor-El. So we have Batman, the Flash, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, I believe that's about it, right, from the teaser trailer, and they're all fighting one another. And then you have these lower-level characters, dare I say B-list characters, not to insult Blue Beetle or Jason Todd, they're just simply not Justice League members, okay? So anybody not in the Justice League is going to be recruited to fight amongst one of the top Justice League members in a massive battle. That's not, you know, that's not like one team versus another team, but is instead Team Aquaman, Team Batman, Team Flash, all fighting one another for whatever reason. I won't even try to speculate on why they're fighting, but that's definitely the insinuation with the trailer, in combination with that one Wonder Woman line, which again may seem very small. If you conglomerate all that evidence together, it seems as though Blue Beetle has been recruited by Batman to fight Team Wonder Woman, and then it seems very plausible as well that Batman, of course, would recruit Jason Todd, Red Hood, to fight under Team Batman as well. So this team up between Batman and Red Hood may seem a little bit unlikely for some of you, especially if, you know, with recent interpretations of Jason Todd, such as in Batman Arkham Knight, which I'm sure that many of you are aware of if you are subscribed to this channel, where Jason Todd is essentially, he's sort of disgruntled, and he inadvertently blames Batman for what happened to him, even though he never actually died, like in the comics, for example, where he goes into the Lazarus Pit and comes back that way, or in the Under the Red Hood animated film, which I'll be referencing a lot in my discussion on Jason Todd, because that's something that a lot of people have seen, and maybe less so the comics. But one thing that I will have you keep in mind about, you know, how Jason Todd was portrayed in Batman Arkham Knight, which was essentially, you know, a little bit on the whiny side. I wouldn't say that he was a whiner in the game itself, but he definitely blamed Batman. He wanted to kill Batman for basically being negligent of caring for Jason Todd and not saving him. And this is a little bit disingenuous, in my opinion, to the character's origin, because of the fact that, well, in the Arkhamverse, basically, Dad is in prison for life, Mom is already dead. In the comics, such as Lobdell's New 52, or Lobdell, however you say his name, or in the Rebirth series, you know, both parents are dead. So either way, his future's not looking very grim. And he is 16 years old when he's ripping the tire off of that Batmobile. So at this point, he's almost a grown man. He's been out in the streets for so many years on his own, fending for his own, being a crook and thief rather. And this is very important because the idea that Batman or excuse me, Jason Todd would sort of be, you know, sort of whining about Batman or having a sense of entitlement to be saved by Batman is a little bit disingenuous to his hardened criminal background. I mention this because it's important to note that Batman and Red Hood are, at their heart, are allies. They're very ideologically sort of differing. They have different ideas on how to handle the problem of crime in Gotham, but with that being said, they do have the same end goal in mind, and their means by which to achieve this is what varies and what drives one of the most interesting character, you know, basically dynamics in all of comics, in my personal opinion. With that being said, you're going to see them working together more so than you are against one another, and that's just something that I felt was important to note, and one of the reasons I love so much. You know, like the Rebirth Red Hood series, where we see Batman and Red Hood, you know, not fighting one another, not beating the crap out of one another. We see Red Hood saving the mayor of Gotham and basically saving his life. Literally, we see Batman and Red Hood just talking about, you know, how to address a situation because they're allies, and that's something that I love to see. And Red Hood is not coming out of the Lazarus pit wanting to kill Batman and blaming Batman for something that he didn't do or something that he's not guilty of. Of course he tried to save him. Of course he was doing everything that he could and would never abandon him, you know, until after he had already thought that he was dead. And yes, Red Hood is an anti-hero to a certain extent, but only once being compared to the sort of impeccable morality of Batman, who never kills and gives everybody a second, third, fourth, and fifth chance, and it'd give this criminal ripping the tire off the Batmobile, who he probably should have taken to Blackgate, another chance to be a Robin and to fight under him. This is, you know, you're comparing an impeccable morality to somebody like, you know, to a criminal, basically. So, you know, so yes, Red Hood to a certain extent is an anti-hero, but I think less so than most people would perceive, at least in my honest, you know, interpretation of the character. I think that's important to note because I really do think we're going to see Batman and Red Hood working together in Injustice 2, not against one another. So I'm really interested about Injustice 2 from a story perspective at this point. Of course, I've always been interested in the game. I loved it in Injustice 1, but, you know, I really want to see if my theory comes true, that we're going to have Team Batman versus Team Flash versus Team Wonder Woman, and not just like one team versus another. And I have no problem with verses and heroes, although, you know, we've gotten a lot of verses here. We had Civil War in the MCU, we had Batman versus Superman, we're getting Civil War 2 in the comic books right now. So, you know, of course, comic books is all about verses, but usually it's good versus evil. But, you know, I'm certainly down for, you know, to see our good guys clashing in one another against one another in Injustice 2. But if it's done in a new and refreshing way, such that, you know, what I've theorized here, I think that's going to be really interesting, and I can't wait to see Red Hood in Injustice 2, being that he is confirmed for the game. We aren't certain yet, but certainly the troll himself, Ed Boon, has been teasing it very heavily, so I can't wait to see that. And I can't wait to see how the character plays, because, you know, how do you make him different than Batman? Of course, the whole kind of shtick of Red Hood is that he knows exactly how Batman fights, he knows everything about Batman, and also he learned everything that he knows from Batman. He's never had professional training, you know, from Ra's al Ghul. He never went to the Alps of China, or, you know, to go on these extravagant sort of, you know, trips to learn about, you know, Kung Fu or, you know, whatever. Really, Batman was his mentor, so everything that he knows is from Batman. So how do you differentiate that fighting style? I think that's very important as well. But adding a sense of brutality, I think you got to do a little bit more than that, and just having him have a gun where Batman doesn't. So I'm interested to see how they handle the character from a sort of fighting aspect, from a gameplay aspect, and I can't wait to see that gameplay very soon. I'm hoping we will be getting that. Alright, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts on Red Hood being in Injustice 2 in the comment section below. And a bonus question, who is your favorite Robin? Comment that in the comment section below as well. Hope you guys have enjoyed. We'll see you in the next one.